Hey, chat. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy to be here with you guys today. Uh, Man, I'm really excited about today's topic. It's one that I personally am very torn about. If you didn't see, today we are talking about game emulators, uh, and the idea of game preservation. Like, we'll get into it more in the actual podcast itself, but essentially recognizing Kyrie. Hey, long time no see. Hello and welcome. Glad you're here. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about game emulation and as well as game preservation and kind of how these two things go hand in hand with each other, but at the same time, what really means to own an IP and all this other stuff. It's something that I personally am like really torn on. Uh, Man, it's tough. It's really tough. I'm excited to talk about that. Um, was this brought about by the Yuzu nonsense and Ryujin's closing the repository? No. Oh, hey, Fox is here. Okay, hang on. Wow, Fox is here sooner than normal. Hang on just a second here. Hey, there's the guy.
What's up, Bah?
What's up, Fox? We were just talking, like getting a general idea of what today's subject's going to be about. Kyrie asks, was this brought about by the Yuzu nonsense and Ryujin's closing the repository? I'm honestly not sure what that is.
I don't think I understood most of the words you just said.
This is actually brought about by, for Switch emulators. This was brought about because the Supreme Court recently just shot down there's a video game preservation organization that was trying to create like, think of it like a Library of Congress, but for video games specifically, where a place where researchers and preservationists can go and play old video games for the purpose of research and whatnot. And what was the pushback was that they'd be afraid that too many people would just use it for enjoyment, not
Oh no,
not for actual research. And
the horror.
that in turn the Supreme Court agreed with, and it was shot down. So yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about emulators, game preservation, all of these things. But with this in mind, our pre-show question today, oh yeah, Farrago Foss, so many of my childhood games are probably nearly impossible to find now. Yes, absolutely. So with that being said here, what is a childhood or like a retro game of yours that you have not seen a remake for, a Switch Arcade or whatever, like a playable version of in current consoles, something that you remember, but chances are you can only play it on that system or a console. Like for me, right off the top of my head, mine is Parasite Eve. I don't know if you guys remember.
There's a huge push for people for a remake
of Parasite Eve. This game was so good. It was a game where it's, think like a middle ground between Resident Evil and Silent Hill almost, where it's a lot of like psychic powers. Think a lot like Stranger Things. It's a lot like Stranger Things, where people with psychic abilities are doing things, but it's also causing some craziness in the world. It's definitely some like survival horror elements to it. So good, man. Kyrie says, user did some dumb stuff which got them nailed, and the emulator version, the emulator ownership given to Nintendo. They had a patron. You wanted a precompiled version of new builds, you had to pay, otherwise build it yourself. And also some crud like fixing performance issues for Tears of the Kingdom before it even came out. Ryujinx didn't disclose why they shut it down, but they were the only real Switch emulator out there. Yeah. We'll get into that. We'll get into that more in the podcast itself. Farrago Fox says, unknown life sim called Unnatural Selection. I haven't heard of that. Don't know.
Sounds spooky.
What do you think, Fox?
Man, the one that just came to mind, I looked it up. It's called Goemon's Great Adventure. Do you remember this?
No.
It's an N64 game. It's like a platformer, very much a like Japanese RPG platformer kind of thing. I just remember I remember loving it, playing it a lot, and finding it very funny that you could basically go Super Saiyan, and the main character's name is Goemon, which just sounded like you have
Pokemon.
Goku and Gohan
Yeah.
and Goemon.
Oh yeah,
And so
that
it
too.
just
Yeah.
felt like, all right, yep, I get it. And then I remember playing it and getting stuck on a part. Like you had to swim up this waterfall and you had to like tap the buttons really fast and I couldn't do it. And then my friend was also playing it and I went to school and they were like, guess what? And I was like, oh, did you beat the waterfall? And they were like, no, I beat the whole game. And I was legitimately upset. But no, that's one. I mean, there's 1,000 games that will never get remade
Right.
or even like just available to play on some official, like the Nintendo library or whatever it is, the arcade, N64 arcade is cool, but it's a fraction of the number of games that were made for the N64. Like there's just the vast majority of video games are pretty much lost to time.
So Kyrie is saying the majority of games can still be found reliably. The distinction is most of them are very expensive, and rare ones can be 3 to 4 digits.
Oh, sure.
So
The
that's true,
plausibility of finding them.
yeah, the plausibility, the possibility is there. But like, for example, I had no idea. I have the original Silent Hill 2, not the Greatest Hits edition, the original Silent Hill 2 for the PlayStation 2 in pristine condition. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were just saying like, yeah, if you can find it, good luck with that. And I'm like, is this valuable? And I looked it up, and it's like $300. It's like,
Yeah.
holy crap! I had no idea. And so, yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, you'd have to have a PlayStation 2, which finding that on its own is going to be money as well.
Having to maintain old technology,
Right.
having to probably try to repair that technology because
Yeah.
there's, I don't think you can send your PS2 into Sony for a quick, a repair, So there's just so many barriers to continuing to play games, and it's just so many things. Like, well, obviously we're going to get into it, but
Yeah.
there's, I would say, also some arguments on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Again, I was saying before you got here that I'm really torn on this subject. Like, it's one that I can absolutely see a lot from both sides. And
Wait, hold on. You know what needs to be remade for sure? Beetle Adventure Racing.
Beetle Adventure Racing?
Yeah, you don't remember Beetle? Oh, it was a racing game purely, and the only vehicle was Volkswagen Beetles.
Oh, okay. That makes way more sense. That makes way more sense than my thoughts of little people on Beetles driving these bugs around, which I was like, I want to play this game.
No, that sounds pretty good. Yeah. That sounds like a Pikmin mini game or something.
Farrago Fox says that would have said Earthworm Jim, but they made it to an onboard Switch emulator. Cool. Playing on and maintaining old PCs for hardware-specific emulation is a pain. Yeah, even some emulators change as technology progresses and whatnot. Kyrie, people not understanding value are just not caring. Buying up games during COVID screwed over the market. Mm-hmm. That's very, very true. I mean, that's so true with collectibles in general, but you were absolutely right talking about COVID and video games, though. Like, that was a ton.
Oh, yeah, that happened in so many industries. Like, so many, like, hobby industries, just the speculator market just boomed.
Yeah. Oh, the barriers exist, but unless the courts are willing to acknowledge that devs and publishers aren't selling them anymore, and many of these games cost more than they did at release, significantly more, I don't think we'll ever see playing rooms legal outside of a dump from your own physical. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into that more. Yeah, I don't want to cover too much of the topic on our pre-show, right? Yeah. I just want to talk about old games, guys.
Sure.
Try to use some old Lego robotics kits. Impossible to get them to work without actually building a vintage PC. Bonkers.
You know how difficult it is to play BMX XXX at this point?
Leisure Suit exactly Larry. As difficult as it was to play it at the time. It is. That's a tough game to play. No, I mean, there's a lot of really good games.
Where's my copy of Night Trap?
Another one for me is Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. Not the Soul Eater series. The Soul Eater series is the one that took off. Legacy of Kain
Oh
Soul
yeah,
Reaver is the one that is huge. It's being remade.
Legacy of Kain is literally there's remakes coming out like next year.
So, but
But the
those
one that's a spin-off,
those
those are
are
spin-offs.
spin-offs of the
Yeah,
original game, which is Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, in
yeah.
which it is basically like you are the lawful evil character in a chaotic evil world, and you're just trying to restore some order to this place. And it was this game that took a really interesting look on morality, considering you're all bad. Everybody's bad, but can we be bad in a more good way? Like, it was a really, really interesting game. I played this when I was a kid. Significantly more is debatable. Said that with inflation accounted for, the most expensive game I own is Xenosaga 3. Ooh, I don't know how much that is, but I have, again, I took my brother drilled into me to take care of my discs of stuff. So I have pristine condition, launch day titles, pristine condition, with the books, original case, everything. Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, Silent Hill 1 and 2, like games that I did not realize were as valuable as they are until I looked it
Hmm.
up later. So yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to start podcasting here in just a second, though. I only have the discs. Oh yeah, yeah. Just the discs still for 180 bonkers. We're going to be podcasting here in just a second, chat. But this does not mean we want you to stop being part of the conversation. While we don't interact with the chat during the podcast, after the podcast, we come back and we go through the chat and we touch base with kind of a lot of the comments and respond and get that all going and whatnot. So keep chatting in the chat, keep posting in the chat as normal, and then afterward we will come back and we will address the chats. But during the podcast itself, we don't interact with the chat because we release this later as an actual podcast, and it's just not great to listen to half of a conversation when you're listening to a podcast. With that being said, Fox, are you ready to podcast, my friend?
I believe so.
All right. I think I have the pre-intro today, which means you
Yeah.
have the actual intro.
Sure.
So yeah, I think I got it. So today in the Nerdy Gritty, emulators and video game preservation.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, today in the Nerdy Gritty, emulators and video game preservation.
One more world disappears inside it. Just another hopeless addict. World that makes a man instead. If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am, if you can still find me, Fox.
I am only available for the PlayStation 1, Des.
Yeah, you look like it. Got those cloud stripe textures going on over there.
It's the spiky hair is what it is.
It's the spikiest
the
hair.
sharp
Yeah,
points.
yeah.
Hey,
You got like 8 polygons total over there.
It's toward the end of October, which means something super fun and delightful and but also a little bit spooky is coming up soon. It's election day. Election day is coming in. So fun and exciting.
I'm actually genuinely excited.
I am excited
Because
but also
it is the
nervous.
thing that could possibly end or turn a chapter on what's been going on for a long while now.
Oh, this will
I'd
absolutely
rather have
this,
the possibility of change than be stuck in this endless cycle.
this will turn a chapter. What the next chapter is still yet
It's
to
a
be
choose
decided.
your own adventure to the happy not the happy ending. I won't go
No.
that far. To a better, like a positive turn, or instant death.
Yes.
You fell in a spike pit.
So yeah. Hey, but so with that, we wanted to acknowledge that politics isn't just something that you talk about or vote on. It's something that is expressed in art a lot,
Of course.
including in video games. And
Most great art has some kind of political concept in it.
Absolutely. So today, for our intro, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite political games and what we think they represent. So, what they're saying, what political statement is being made. So, Fox, what is your first political game, and what statement is being made there?
One of my favorite, one of the most popular, like explicitly political games the last couple of years, Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Yeah.
100%
Oh my
pro
gosh.
unbridled capitalism.
It so is. Oh my gosh.
We were kind of like, we were going to talk about this in a joking way, you know, because it's supposed to be fun, but it absolutely is.
I mean, this is both joking and honestly and truly, yes, it is.
It is 100%. Somebody shows up and just the you know, what's his name, the Tanuki guys, well, I forget their names at this point, but they're just like, hey,
Tom Nook.
you owe us thousands of dollars now to live here, to exist here. For hey, hey, you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that bottom rung, $100,000 right now. We know you don't need to eat, but you can sell us apples. They're purely a commodity at this point. They're not actually functional in this game. You don't eat those, but you can sell them for 500 bells.
Man, that is so accurate in like, take that.
Everything's okay.
Something just fell from. Oh, it's your
My microphone
arm just fell.
Lost its tensile strength for a second.
If you're listening to this with headphones, rip your ears. Sorry
about that, everybody.
But at least he's not charging like interest. You know, it's a interest.
That's true. That is the surprising part. That I mean, there should be a hardcore mode where here's the interest.
There should be a mode where it checks the internet for the actual interest,
current interest rates, what the Fed is set at,
and basically makes you playing this game realize what, hey, if you get a loan in the real world, this is what it's going to be like, man. So maybe
that would be pretty fun.
Maybe just start saving right now.
Maybe you can't buy all these fun furniture items. Maybe you should just save your money, invest it in the it's not radishes, it's the stock market, the whatever it's called.
Oh, not turnips, dang it. I know what you're talking about.
Been literal couple of years since I.
It is turnips.
Since everybody. Right. Oh, it's turnips. Okay. It's in the turnip market.
Thank you, Kyrie.
Just invest in that. You don't buy things. Don't buy other things.
For me, you balance the line so well that mine's just going to sound stupid now.
Well, that's fair.
But I'm going to go with Goat Simulator. Goat Simulator is the greatest political statement of our time.
Now speak on that.
Because
I'm confused.
It is a game that represents anarchy in its purest form. You are an entirely outside entity within this culture that has now set up your own ruling order. Like no other order can tell you what to do. Your goal is for everybody to kind of maintain themselves and do their own thing. And you as the goats are there to disrupt this.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And so
there is no goat leadership.
Correct.
It is
you are the one going out there and disrupting the world and trying to bring some chaos
really
into
disrupting the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And so every time you hit somebody as the goat, it's you hitting capitalism, I guess, or something.
It's you hitting the laws and regulations that seek to bind the something.
Yeah, exactly.
Also Goose Game is the
Untitled Goose Game is very similar.
Peace was never an option.
No. Untitled Goose Game is more about communism because he's seizing the means, by taking stuff from people.
He's seizing the means, which are the bells in the town,
exactly,
and hiding them and hoarding them. Yeah, this is a
it's a Marxist communism there. Yeah.
Stalinism.
Seize the means of production. That's what it is. Yeah. So
seize the means of production of the handbells in this small English countryside village. I'm assuming that game's in England, right? We're assuming that. Were you assuming it's an American?
Oh my god! Setting? No, absolutely. I thought it was an English game, Untitled Goose Game, right?
Yeah,
but I have no idea why. I think the pub.
There's probably stuff in there that would make sense. Like now, I think like if I went back and played it, I feel like there'd be things that like, oh yeah, that's probably a British thing. But for some reason, just in my mind,
It's
That's
either
set
set in England or in Portland, Oregon. Like those are
in
the two
Portland.
choices for there to be like this really nice outdoor pub that everybody's just sitting at and chilling and drinking
That's
beer.
a good point.
And also there's like houses that are just really close to each other, kind of all jam packed in there. Like not downtown Portland, like the suburbs of Portland, Oregon.
Sure. No,
Yeah.
I just always got a UK vibe. For, it just felt like a little village
No, I agree,
in
and
the English countryside.
I can't tell you why, but I agree with you. Yeah.
You know what I think we should take a lot of like lessons from politically?
What's that?
Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Or not Brawl. Why did I go with Brawl? Super
Yeah.
Smash Brothers
Ultimate?
Ultimate.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody, just everybody from all walks of life, no matter
Mm.
your background, your console, your game series, your
We should all fight.
your sentience, we should all come together and just beat the living crap out of each other.
And whoever succeeds is the winner. And we should all step back and with like
yeah,
sort of like a stern look on our face, applaud them.
yeah, just like fine, you did win. You knocked me far enough off of this ledge enough times
Off the
that
ledge.
you now have political power.
You knocked me far enough off the ledge of policy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that I mean, look, I wouldn't mind the Senate being that. Like if you know the Senate
Do it.
debates are just like fighting each other now. You know, instead of it's just instead of verbal sparring, because that's always stupid. Nobody's listening to people's arguments in there. But you can't ignore Bernie Sanders' fists. You know, they are gonna come for you.
It's just
Hey, don't. Hey. Oh, he forgot to take his famous mittens off.
Yeah, yeah, and real
Even
soft.
he connects, but it doesn't hurt at all. Still, because he's got these mittens on.
Okay, my last one. You ready for this? And this is one that we
Sure.
actually kind of talked about the politics of this before, but I definitely think that we should seek to emulate the politics of Final Fantasy VII. If we could all just become eco-terrorists.
I actually learned after the remakes have been coming out on. I was on some certain Reddits that's a apolitical game.
There's no political statement being made.
Well, it's because I find the women attractive in it, so that makes it apolitical. So I'm not sure what you're talking about because Tifa is my waifu, and so therefore it doesn't have politics in it.
Yeah, it can't be. Keep your politics out of my game about eco-terrorism versus the corporations stealing the basic
Literally destroying the planet
right
for a profit and using their power to be a de facto government.
Mass industrialism slowly destroying the planet is not a political statement. It is, nor is it referencing anything at all in the real world.
Nor do you play as rebel terrorist destroying private businesses in order to make a statement, or Barrett never makes explicitly political speeches.
That is one game that it wasn't until I was probably like 20 something, like my 8th or 9th playthrough of it, that I fully grasped what was happening in this game and just like, wait, where are the terrorists now? Legit, yeah. I say in my 20s, it legit.
Are we the bad guy?
It legit may have been in response to like 9/11 and me like being able to compare the two side by side with each other. Like, man, it's yeah, that's definitely.
I'd say it took some time for me with Final Fantasy X and the religious like parallels of organized religion and indoctrinating people. And
well, when I was a teenager, I agreed with those guys on Reddit. This game is great, and Tifa is my wife. So
Tifa is my wife. So obviously,
that's it.
I can't not. I like it, so I have to agree with it. So obviously it holds my political beliefs.
Yes, absolutely. Eco-terrorism. Don't do a terrorism, guys. Hey, I just want to make it real clear here on the Nerdy Gritty and Save Point Ministries. Don't do a terrorism. Fox, you stop that right now. No.
Nobody was harmed in the destruction of reactor number 6 or 7 or whatever it was.
That's actively untrue. There was a massive explosion that did hurt people. But it was because Shinra actually knew it was happening. There was a real conspiracy. They knew it was happening, and they actually upped the explosion.
Right, they
So
made it worse.
yeah, yeah.
Wait, was that true in the original, or is that like a thing they added to 7 to the remake? Because
it
I
was
played the intro to the original several times, and they don't have those little cutscenes
it was true
of
in the original that the explosion was bigger than expected. I don't
oh
remember
oh yeah,
them
okay. There's a
explicitly
statement like
saying
that.
that Shinra was the one who did it.
Yeah, even Tifa mentions that. Like, I didn't think I made the bomb that big or whatever, something
Yeah,
like that.
Jesse. Yeah.
Jesse, right?
Yeah. So it's yeah,
Anyway,
Shinra made the bomb bigger. It's their fault. The Shinra is the conspiracy. They are the jet engine fuel doesn't burn that hot or whatever else. So okay, hey Fox, what's going on in the world of news, my friend?
you should go first.
I should. Is it
You
because
should.
you don't have a news article and you're trying to look one up right now?
No, you should go first.
Okay, because I don't have a news article and I'm looking one up right now.
We're both terrible at
I
this. 'Cause
had
actually, it is true for me also.
I had one. Did I copy and paste it for myself though? That's the question. Oh no, I had one and I sent it to you and it became today's topic. That's what it was.
Well, that's not useful.
That's not useful at all. No, 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 no. So then I will say in the world of news is that oh my gosh, I did have something else too and I can't remember. I don't have no, this is terrible listening. This is awful. Maybe we'll come back with news later, I guess.
No, I've got it right here.
Okay, you got
it
one.
didn't
Go
take
ahead.
long.
What do you got? What do you got?
Hey, when you think the Catholic Church,
Oh boy.
what's the thing that you're like, they need this right now? They need this. This is what would help the Catholic Church.
Them publicly admitting to and turning in all abusers and allowing them to go through
No,
their...
it's a cool chibi mascot.
Yeah, no. You can't no. You cannot be serious.
Here's a Polygon article by Anna Diaz. The Vatican has found itself a new star, and no, it's not the Gamer Saint. We've talked about the Gamer
We've
Saint.
talked about the Gamer Saint.
The Vatican announced the official mascot for Jubilee 2025. Apparently, they're celebrating Jubilee next year, I guess. On Monday, and it's an anime character named Luce, 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 Lucy,
Luce. I
Luce?
guess because it's
I guess,
supposed to
yeah,
be
if it's
Latin
Italian, maybe.
or Italian. Yeah.
While it's been roughly a day since Luce was revealed, she's already become unbelievably popular online. People are flocking to social media platforms like X to share memes and fan art of the little pilgrim. Do you think they had a conversation? Look, it's just a little like picture of she's got blue hair and a yellow like raincoat on with a hood and green boots that have, I would assume that it's supposed to be mud, but it's red, so it kind of looks like she's walking in blood. And she's got a rosary necklace with a cross. Just a little simple little thing. She's got like a little staff too that she carries. Here's what I want to ask.
Is that one of those staffs that back in the day during Catholic churches, they had a rock on the end of a stick? So if you fell asleep, they could reach over and bonk you on the head? That is a real thing to be true.
I don't think it's that. It doesn't have a rock on there. It's a staff. It's like a stick with two. It looks like a walking stick. It might have some more significance that I'm not aware of. But it's got two, like, it's split into two at the top. Like, kind of. It's got a little thing that comes off. Anyway, here's the question. This is a character that they've got, this is supposed to be their... Oh, yeah, in Italian, her name means light.
She looks like Six from Little Nightmares.
There you go. That's why I was like, she looks like somebody I haven't played Little Nightmares. It didn't pop into my mind. Her name means light. She was designed to reflect pop culture and appeal to a younger generation.
Oh, then it is loose. It's loose if her name means light.
Okay. Yeah. The official Jubilee website translated. Yeah, okay. Here's the question. How far up? How long was the conversation? Do you think they had the conversation of, we've got this new character? Do you guys know what Rule 34 is?
No. Oh no. Look,
I don't like. I'm not obviously not Googling it. I'm not even trying to see if it's a thing. Do you think they had that conversation in the halls of the Vatican?
I don't think that they did, mostly
No,
because the folks in the Vatican are 800 years old each.
that's true. It was probably some young hotshot who made this guy at like 66 years old or something.
But what I think, I hope that they discussed, which I'm already seeing art for, is that Luce can just had Ifer added to the end of that.
Oh, well, I mean, light. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And there's already arts, like chibi arts of Lucif, friend of Luce, and
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe not just the Rule 34 thing, but just like, did they think about the implications of introducing a character as a like an official mascot and what that would do on the internet?
and they had to, right? Hopefully they did have that conversation, yes. Because that's just, man, that's something.
It's a rough one.
Because at the same time, you have to, because I'm seeing there's like a whole like group of
There's
them
so
here.
much art. It's so good. Vatican Miku. There's a funny picture of an old priest like kind of touching an actual physical like doll version of it. So funny. This is weird.
I mean, it's Catholic Veggie Tales, right? But real people. Like it's the cute
guess.
little, you know.
Yeah, but it's a
face-faced
person.
things.
It's not a tomato. You know, like I feel like VeggieTales gets it's a tomato. It's just like sentient vegetables. Obviously, it's not a little girl.
Yeah.
Like that feels like an interesting choice. You know, they didn't make a like sentient. I don't know. Insert Catholic item into in here.
Yeah,
And
Kyrie
they
in
just gave you
chat.
a person with blue hair.
Kyrie in chat makes a great point that scripture literally says that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Like
And
right
well, yeah.
there.
The light, yeah. Lucifer has the turn. Yes,
Yeah,
it's a whole
yeah.
thing. It's just so like it's so funny to me that this is okay. The other question is, how many kids are going to be like, I'm now more into being at church because of this character?
I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal is to have, kind of like we're doing with Save Point, have the church be a part of other parts of your identity. Like I love cute little Japanese looking thing. I don't remember. There's a Japanese word that means cute, and that's a whole culture of theirs. I can't
Kawaii.
remember. Kawaii, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
I've seen
there's
it
a whole
many
kawaii
times.
culture there, and trying to find something that can fit into both of those is probably their goal more, than than thinking we want this to make people come to church. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess that's true. But they they have their own OC now, so they're part of it. What we need now is just like an official Catholic sponsored anime, so that they can have the power of God and anime on their side.
Well, on another thing here, this is the best I got looking through panically and quick right now.
Luce is hilarious.
Luce is very, very funny. Hey, Venom 3 made 51 million, the lowest opening weekend of the comic book trilogy. So
It officially cemented the entire trilogy as rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Here's what I want to just have a real quick conversation about. Does Sony just need to stop? Do they just need to say, it's bad, we're losing money, the movies are not good, we have to be done?
Part of it is copyright.
Right.
If you have you have to maintain the copyright by producing something.
But they're coming out with movies like every year.
It's true. No, they've gotten 2 this year. They got 2 real stinkers. Right? Wasn't Madam Web earlier this year?
Oh, you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
so
saying, I think Craven's
I'm
next
saying
year, but yeah,
I don't know how it works. It does seem like they're producing more than they would actually have to technically. But it's just so funny to me. Like, hey, there are good movies. Why didn't you make any of them? Like, why are you bad? Why'd you get one person off of the team from Into the Spider-Verse and put them on the team for Venom, and it'll get a little better.
It looks like there's a quick Google. I cannot say how accurate this is, but in a quick Google, 2018 Venom was the last Sony Marvel movie outside of Spider-Man to
Oh yeah,
make money,
yeah,
to have a positive gross.
yeah. So that would be Venom 2, Venom 3, Madam Web, Morbius, and
Morbius,
then you've got
Craven coming
Craven the
out.
Hunter next year.
Yeah.
And it also looks just like the new Morbius or
Yeah.
the new Madam Web. It
It
looks
looks
just as
not
terrible.
good. Yeah, absolutely.
They
Man.
I feel like all these games or all these movies are they're just the poster. It's the poster universe for we'll make that other movie you want to make. You can be in that other movie you want to be in if
Yeah, if you
Aaron Taylor
also
Johnson, if you're also Craven the Hunter.
Man, I wonder how much actors stop and think to themselves, "Oh my gosh, is this worth it? Is this
Oh, for sure.
Oh man, I know this movie's going to be bad. Do I want the possibility of tanking my career like Jared Leto over here, or do I maybe this we can just glide over this and I can keep going?" Excuse me, like so.
See, yeah.
Anyway,
Oh man, I bet Aaron Taylor Johnson is in Craven the Hunter as a part of a contract for being in Bullet Train, an excellent movie that was also
Bullet Train was great.
distributed by Sony Pictures. Like there had to be some
That's the
kind
other
of
frustrating part is they
you'll
make
do
good
this.
movies.
Sony is usually very bad. Like most of their movies are pretty bad, and occasionally they get one good one in there. They're really banking on PS5 sales right now.
Okay, hey, that's it for news. We apologize that neither of us had news articles.
I could talk about loose all day long.
We'll
This is
be
such a
better next
fascinating
time.
thing to me.
Oh my god, maybe we will, man. Maybe we should talk about. Maybe that can be our next episode. Like,
Yeah,
religion, like organized religions forays into popular culture,
yeah,
and just how that is worked slash not worked.
how to do it better.
Yeah, yeah. All right, hey, should we get down to the nerdy gritty?
I suppose so.
We will do so right after this. Hey y'all, before we get into our main topic today, I need to let you know that the Nerdy Gritty is brought to you by SavePoint Ministries. We're an organization that wants you to know that you are deeply loved and valued by Jesus. But we also believe that a physical, real-world community is something that's vital for all people. So we combine these two ideas, and we find what's called nerd-friendly churches for people who are looking for one. This is a place where you can learn about the love and salvation of Jesus, but you can also talk to somebody about your D&D character or what games you've been playing or whatever else. So if you're somebody who's interested in finding a nerd-friendly church, or maybe you are a pastor or a volunteer at a nerd-friendly church and you want to be featured, well then go over to our website, savepointministries.com, and we'd love to help you from there. Okay, let's actually get down to the nerdy gritty. So recently, there was a organization called, look at me already forgetting what the organization was called. I wanted to say VHF, but like, no, that's not
Video Game History Foundation.
it is VHF. Yeah, okay.
VGHF.
Yeah, so the Video Game History Foundation, that their goal was to begin to create some sort of compilation of video games that could be played through emulators for the purpose of video game preservation. Something like the Library of Congress, that they could put these games somewhere that only like researchers and educators and things like that could have access to this for their research, for their historical purposes, for their education, whatever else. Not just onlineemulator.com or whatever else.
Coolroms.com.
Yeah, coolroms.com.
Not that I've ever been there. That's just a guess that exists. I don't know if it's real.
Unfortunately, let's see, I'm saying unfortunately right now. I'm giving away my hand here. The Supreme Court shot this down as the publishers.
Oh, not the Supreme Court. The hold on. The U.S. Copyright Office.
Oh yes, you're right. U.S. Copyright Office. Shot it down, siding with the publishers, saying we're afraid that this would just be used for recreational purposes. Like,
yeah, a big part of what they wanted to do was it was a petition to allow libraries and archives to remotely share digital access to out of print video games.
Yeah.
Not right now. A lot of unfortunately, the library we have in Multnomah County does not do this, but a lot of libraries have physical copies of games in their collection that you can go check out. And what they wanted to do was make it easier or even possible to have a digital library, like a library have a digital collection that you can access as, just as part of your local library. And it was shot down, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. So at the end of the day, the conversation we want to have here is, how do we balance the goal of video game preservation with the reality that emulators are illegal and are against the wishes of the people who published these and often who made these games?
Yes.
And how do we, as gamers, live with those two realities? It's complicated. It's difficult. For some people, it's not. I guess for me, again, I'm talking more about myself here. But the truth is, we've talked about lost media before, but lost media is a very real thing that's happening as we are getting into a more digital age in which it's much easier to create content for a lot of people. And therefore, there are TV shows that just disappear off the face of the planet. Like, it's not uncommon at all for there to have been that one season of a cartoon from when you were a kid that didn't do well enough to get a second season, and so the people who made it just trashed it, and now it's literally gone forever, except for a couple of dudes in Utah who got it on VHS or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, missing media. And this is
you happen to tape it on off the TV at some point. Yeah.
And this is just as true with video games, that there are so many games that get made, and then over time the publishers and developers or whatever just don't feel the need to keep their source material of it, and over time the actual copies of the game itself start getting broken or thrown away or whatever, and over the course of 15, 20 years, whatever, it just disappears. It just does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
And so the question is how, like, for a lot of us, video game preservation is art preservation is very important. This is art, representative of its time, representative of the people. Seeing it just disappear sucks. But does that mean that we should, quote unquote, steal it? So I don't know, Fox. I'm ranting.
Let me get it. You know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to be. I'll be in the publisher's corner right now. I'll be in the industry corner of, hey, these are products. Every game out there represents an X amount of time and money spent creating it. I'm not going to say that publishers and developers, a lot of publishers and developers have explicitly an artistic desire in mind. They want to create a very good game that is great and gets remembered and tells a story and resonates with people and has a message and all those things. Like, they are in the art realm. They want to do those things. They are also explicitly in the money realm. It is and not even just to recoup your losses from making it, but to make a profit, to make money, to continue to be a company, and also for the executives, because who other people might get bonuses, but the more money you make, the more money more money the company makes, the more money the executives can get, bigger bonuses, things like that. You get raises, all that jazz. It is a money-making business. It is an industry in which a major goal, not the only major goal, a major goal is to create a product that is going to get people to give you money for it.
This makes perfect sense. I wholeheartedly understand. But if you're going to go the money route, if you're going to say this is my product, is money-making thing, we have to understand that if it's going to become lost media, you're not making money on it then either. You're making $0 on it and it doesn't exist anymore, or you can make $0 on it, but people can still experience the art that you're just in charge of. That's another part of it, is for most of these games, the people who are making these decisions were just in charge of it, but they represent 1/100th of the team of artists that created this game.
Sure.
And maybe the other 99% are saying, yes, please, I want people to play my game. I worked my tail end off on this game. That level, that screen, that was my screen. I did
Yeah.
that, you know? And so to just say, I understand this is a product. We made this to be a product. If that's the case, put your product out for sale. Find a
Well,
way to get
here's
it
the
out
thing,
there.
though. That's not free. Let's take Adventure Racing, a game I mentioned before we actually started podcasting, a game that I played a lot of as a child, which understandably has not been remade, is not available to play, has not been ported to anything. It was a video game. It was a racing game in which it was obviously just sponsored content. It was a game in which you could only drive Volkswagen Beetles in a race. I had a lot of fun with it. It, didn't make a splash. I had fun with it because I was 8. Uh, but let's take that as our example. A quintessential game that I had fun, other people probably had fun, is not available today. Let's say Nintendo. I think it was just on the 64. It might have been on something else. I think it was just an exclusive for the Nintendo 64. Let's say we put, hey Nintendo, we want to play this again. Okay, well, let's say they take that a little bit seriously and say, okay, what does it take to make that available to play? You have to port the game essentially to the Switch to make it be able to play on the Switch. You have to maintain, the files. You have to have them like available and ready to play. You have to probably update it. It's not just porting. It's bug testing. If something goes wrong, like it's maintaining. You have to have Q&A or QA, not Q&A, QA, quality assurance with it. It is not simply flipping a switch and saying, I guess you can play that now. It is an endeavor. It is a endeavor that will cost them money to make, and if to accomplish. And if they did that with every single game, the vast majority of games are not going to give them money back in return. Very few people, including myself, are not going to give them even $5 to play Beetle Adventure Racing one more time. I remember it as a fun game that I played when I was young. I'm not interested in playing it again. But it is, by all purposes, a lost game at this point. So we can't sit here and pretend it's just them like saying no. It's them saying, well, it doesn't make financial sense to do that. We love that. We love that idea. We want people to play our games, but it doesn't make financial sense. Like they are not going to do it even to just try to like break even on a game. Cuz that's going to be very difficult to do, and more than likely you're going to just lose money, which then hurts everything else they're going to try to do. And then multiply that by thousands of games that exist. Right. So like we can't just pretend it's a flip a switch and then you can play it all of a sudden. It's a major endeavor to even play the original version of it, to not even try to upscale it or anything. And a lot of games we're going to like say, "Oh, cool, I can play this game. Oh, this is a lot worse than I remember it being. I'm not interested in playing this anymore."
So then why not just let it go? Like I understand what you're saying, that it costs money to do this yourself. Yeah. So then again, I'll just return to you can make $0 and the game doesn't exist anymore, or you can make $0 and the game does exist still. Like if you are admitting this game is not financially beneficial for us to invest in it,
yeah,
but other people are saying we do want to invest in this. We absolutely want to invest in this.
Sure, yeah.
Why not just say, okay, man, I didn't care anymore. Here you go. It's yours. Like what it feels like to me is taking your ball and going home. That if I can't make money off of this, nobody can do anything with it then. And it feels just more like again, it doesn't even feel like greed because they're not gaining anything from it.
I would say it's something like, well, when it comes to like Nintendo specifically, they are so about quality assurance that they are not interested in anybody but them having any control over what the game is like. Even though people out there who are more than willing to put all their time and effort into upscaling a game, making it great. People are currently doing Skyblivion, taking Skyrim and Oblivion and basically upscaling it to a Skyrim level game,
Hmm.
Graphically and all that stuff. Nintendo is historically doesn't do that. They have extremely high levels of quality assurance that they try to achieve. It's been a thing for them since like the days of Sega, where Sega was allowed to Sega just basically said, "Hey, whoever wants to make a game, pay us this and you can make a game." And Nintendo said, "Absolutely not. We are the only ones that get to produce games, and if you are a third party, then you have extremely high standards that you will have to. We will deny you outright no matter how much money you've spent." Like, so for them, and then also there is I think another line of thought is, hey, what if for whatever reason, for the memes or whatever, Beetle Adventure Racing for some reason would actually be profitable at some point? Why not? So we want to maintain control over that because someday we might be able to actually release a remaster of Beetle Adventure Racing and make some money off of it. And if right now we say, "Hey, everybody, do whatever you want to do with it," then when that point comes, everybody's going to say, "No, we already actually have this game. Why do you need? We don't need your copy
Yeah,
of it." It's the
yeah.
same thing with like Marvel and their thousands of there's a billion characters they're never going to put in a movie, but that doesn't mean they're just going to say, "Hey, whatever movie company, whatever
Go for
small
it.
time production company, you can use X character that you've never heard of," because someday that might be a character they want to use and might turn a profit because I'm sure Rocket Raccoon at some point was like, "What? Nobody's ever going to put Rocket Raccoon in a
Right.
movie,"
Who?
and now he's one of the most beloved MC. Like he's such a great character. Like so, they're always banking on the potential profit of something they have, and they're not going to say, "Well, let's do it." I think the money overcomes the "let's do it for the people" every time.
So then, and that's a very good point. I wholeheartedly understand that, maybe 10, 20 years down the line, you find out that this game's having a resurgence. It's really big. I mean,
Yeah,
even if we just take a look at games like Among Us, which was out for years before it
years.
really hit its stride, so maybe an older game
Because a
again.
single streamer.
Yeah,
What if some streamer boots up Beetle Adventure Racing?
exactly. I mean, that's a great example. What if Mr. Beast boots up Beetle Adventure Racing? You better believe that every 13-year-old on the planet is going to want to play Beetle Adventure Racing
Then
out of
they
nowhere.
release the remaster and then the official uh Beastal Adventure Racing DLC pack.
So then,
That was a
would
funny joke. Laugh at it.
Beastal Adventure? Okay, that's not bad.
Thank you. Beast.
Yeah. Uh, would just an EULA work? Hey, by downloading this game, you are agreeing to these terms, which include that at any moment we could shut off, access to this game, or that we
That's
could.
already a thing. That's
Right,
already in the EULA.
right. And so, why not just tag that same EULA onto?
Wait, how are you tagging that onto a a fan controlled thing?
So I would say like you make your own games public access. Oh no, because like we already said at that
How do
point,
you do that? You're not going to upload your
man,
own games to
oh that's so hard.
coolrom.biz.
Dang it.
You're still if yeah, you
Yeah,
could
no,
have
you're
your own
right.
official Nintendo, digital library that has all this thing, but then you have to pay for that. Like it's
Right,
just that original
right.
problem. You have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
maintain it. You have to have servers. You have to have QA teams. You have to have all that stuff.
Okay, so then we're seeing it's a complicated and difficult matter. So
Yeah.
let's bring the other side of this into it.
Okay.
Then what about emulation? If you are somebody who sees that game is never, this is Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, this is Beetle Adventure Racing, nobody's going to remake that ever, but I have the ability to do and the know-how to be able to make something to make this game playable on PC. Is that wrong?
Are we getting into the ethical, the moral quandary
Yeah,
of it?
yeah. So what do you think
Is
here?
it okay for us to essentially play games illegally if they are not available legally?
Right. So
Is that what we're
if
asking?
there's no possible other way for you to be able to experience this game, should you, or is it okay to, I mean, gosh, all of these words are so in and of themselves moral statements. And so it's hard to
Right.
really get to like, how should you decide how to proceed, whether or not you can make a way to play that game or just decide I will let that game die.
I mean, we should. Okay, maybe this is just my own thing, but I was gonna say, like, I mean, I think we have to admit it is illegal. It is illegal. It was not obtained through legal means, and there is a copyright infringement. A
Yeah.
copyright on it. Like there, as far as legal, ethically, the American law legal system, it is not. You are not legally allowed to do that thing. There are potential, if you are caught or whatever, there are potential, fines and whatnot that could be levied against you, and you would have no recourse because you did something that is explicitly illegal. Like to make the ethical, the legal standpoint of it,
Right.
no, that's not really a gray area.
Yeah. And I would agree with, I think more than seeing yourself as a liberator, consider it more of this is an opportunity for me to look at the structure as a whole and as the systematic reasons for this. Like, for example, this is actually really good parallel, because we're talking about history. Museums have warehouses full of history
Yep.
that are not displayed anywhere.
Yeah.
You may not know this, listener, but your local museum, maybe not your local like train museum or whatever, but like your local large museum has historical artifacts, paintings, tapestries, whatever it is.
Just thousands and thousands, millions potentially of items that are
They're
in a warehouse
just
somewhere.
sitting there labeled just in case they ever want to swap out exhibits, but a lot of them never ever get displayed.
Yeah, 100 of the same kind of thing.
Right. So then, does this in turn mean that we can Nicolas Cage it and go and steal?
I'm gonna go look at these other pots.
Yeah, go steal these and then run out and display them in public and say, this is history that a museum was not displaying. Therefore, I have liberated that thing that nobody was doing anything with. And now, because of me, you're going to get super arrested. Like
you're gonna get just ram a jam it on that one. You're not.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
gonna fly.
They're going to rappel down to find you,
It's
so
like museum cops.
and I don't think we can disagree with that. But at the end of the day,
I would say not from a legal standpoint.
right. At the end of the day,
Morally, we could absolutely, but
because at the end of the day, that still sucks. That sucks a lot.
sure.
But that's a systematic issue, not an individualistic issue. When you are, to me, it sounds like when somebody's saying, I want to play that game, and so I'm going to create an emulator so I can play that game, that feels like much more selfish reasoning than you being some sort of Robin Hood, or whatever else. Emulators, to me, I understand people's heart and their goal when they say, I'm doing this because it is not available anywhere else. But there is also a part of me that says that doesn't mean that you deserve to play it.
Yeah,
You don't have the right to play every single game.
There is no like natural right, natural law that says gamers get to game if they're not allowed to game.
Right.
That's not a thing. It is. I can understand your reasoning of why, but you are not like you do not have a legal right, and I would say there's no like moral, like objective quality of I have to play this game because I'm not allowed to play this game. Which is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you could just download it off of the PlayStation Network, you wouldn't be upset about it. You might complain about the price or something, but it's only because you're not allowed to, technically. And so, no, I mean, really, at the end of the day, I think we do have to remember art is extremely important for humanity. It is good. It is a good thing. to explore humanity through the artistic realm, but it is also entertainment. We do not need to play Beetle Adventure Racing.
Whoa. You don't.
Well, I already did. I already played it. I played a lot of it, so I'm good. But there is no, there is no, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Beetle Adventure Racing is not on there. Entertainment is, to a certain extent, but you can accomplish that through lots of means.
Yeah.
And simply because you want to do it this way does not then therefore give you the right to violate laws in order to accomplish that. Now, I understand I sound like Big Corpo over here, but it is true. It is true. Now, if you tell me, hey, I just downloaded Beetle Adventure Racing on my PC and I'm playing it on coolroms.net, I'd be like, oh, I played that game a lot. And then we'd talk about something else because I don't care. Like, I don't really care that you're doing it. It's not something I'm going to, I'm not going to call your dad and be like, hey. But also,
that wouldn't work for either of us anyway. So
yeah, that would be, it wouldn't accomplish much. It would just, so it's like, on the, maybe on what I'm saying is on the hierarchy of terrible things to do against the law, things to do, it's pretty low, but it is still against the law.
Yeah. And I think that's well said. I agree with that. But I would also just add support organizations like VGHF.
Yes.
And go out there and make your voice heard saying, hey, I appreciate the art of video games and I don't want there to be lost media. I don't want these games to disappear. Hey, whatever company, hey, whatever place, we will support you. Hey, let's say it's Netflix of retro video games. You pay, Sega for having it on your streaming system, and then we play a monthly subscription to have access to your streaming, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Whatever way it is, make your voice heard, do something to say, yeah, I don't want these games to just die. But just because it's easy to steal it and hard to get caught when you steal it,
right,
doesn't make it not stealing.
Right.
And so I guess if you were somebody out there, Fox and I, you guys should know by now, are devout Christians, that is a huge part of all of this. Like, we have to understand that we as believers have a moral decision to say this is wrong and I do not want to do it. Maybe you don't have that moral quandary, whatever it is. For us, though, we would definitely say, like, hey, you're not entitled to it.
I also want to get in front of the Robin Hood argument. Robin Hood stole from the rich and gave to the poor. He didn't break into, King Richard's castle to steal his 3DS to play whatever game that he can't play anymore. That's not the same. It's much easier to defend morally Robin Hood's protection of the less fortunate.
Yeah,
you are not Robin Hood.
He didn't steal from the rich to give the middle class nicer plays and nicer songs.
Yeah. Breaking in and stealing all the secret plays that you haven't heard of yet, or the ones that the run on Broadway ended and now I can't see it anywhere, so now I have to steal the script and put it on myself. No, it's not the same thing. There is a difference in the moral. But at the end of the day, it would be good. We are fully on the side of, hey, you should let us play games. Like, we want to play games. There's a study, Video Game History Foundation. This is the foundation that was part of this kind of petition that was denied. 87% of classic video games released in the United States are unavailable to be played. 87%. Jeez. That means 13% of video game history is being represented in the current marketplace.
Well, and on top of this, even when the company, let's say Nintendo, does choose to make an emulator for it and does choose to put it on, doesn't always even mean that it's going to work correctly. Another article that that I sent you was about Banjo-Kazooie running at double frame rate sometimes.
Specifically Banjo-Tooie.
Banjo-Tooie, you're right, running at double frame rate sometimes. And they don't want to put the effort into figuring out why. Like, that's not important to them. They need to worry about Metroid Prime 4 or whatever, like.
Yeah, that game that everybody is super confident in right now.
And so it is worth it to preserve video games. It's not worth it to do illegal things, especially because when the reality is that when you go this direction, they're going to go this direction, which causes you to go this direction, which causes them to go this direction, meaning that the more that we emulate, the stricter they get.
Sure.
And therefore we emulate more, and therefore they get stricter. But at the end of the day, we just kind of chilled and said, hey guys, we really want to play your games. Can you please help us play your games?
Right.
I bet they'd be a lot more willing to hear that.
Here's the thing. Every single gaming company out there, including the big three and every Sega and all they have absolutely run a cost analysis of what if we had a digital library where every single game, like Nintendo obviously has an N64 library available, plus older games, and SNES and SNES. The reason why it's just those ones is because they ran a cost analysis. They are charging $20 a year for access to it, which is pretty low,
especially when Xbox Live and whatever else is like.
Yes,
50
well, yeah, Xbox, yeah, right, $20 a month for Xbox right now, and however much. Like, that's pretty low, but that is because they are very specifically putting up games that they can maintain at that cost. In fact, I don't know, maybe they're losing, who knows. But if they were to say, well, okay, let's put up double the amount of games. Okay, now it's 25. Like, they are running cost analysis benefit, like they are 100%. I'm sure, Reggie knew Doug Bowser. I can't believe I forgot who the Nintendo of America guy is right now. You forgot that
Bowser finally won. He succeeded.
Name is literally Bowser. Like, I'm sure he would absolutely agree to, I wish all of our games were currently available. I agree. That would be cool. I'd love to play insert game here that's not available. They're probably on that side also. But they want to maintain a player base and not just appeal to the people with X amount of dollars that they would have to charge in order to do that. So it's I think at the end of the day, it always comes back to the cost benefit analysis of what can they feasibly maintain and also expect people to pay for it, and also still want to maintain their copyright and all that thing, because just in case they might want to put that game on there eventually, or so it's always going to come down to money. And the art side of it is good, and they're for that, but I just don't expect them to ever say, we're now a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So come play all of our games, and you can give us a donation if you want to.
I agree.
But sorry, you don't get the new Zelda.
I agree. I guess to kind of put a cap on my thoughts, just because two wrongs don't make a right. Just because they're doing something wrong doesn't mean that we deserve to do something wrong to them. I believe it's wrong to let the art disappear like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
Right. These are human beings who put in so much work. They are a picture of whatever time period they were made in. It's important to preserve these things, and it sucks that people are willing to let them just disappear because of financial stuff. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's, not a life need by any means.
Right.
That doesn't give me the right to just take it.
You know what I think would be cool? Let's maintain a website that has extremely detailed information on every game we've ever produced. Extremely detailed. Here's everybody who worked on it, what they did. Let's get a playthrough, somebody playing through it. You can watch the whole playthrough. All that information. Obviously, it leaves out the idea of being able to play the game, which is core to video games, but it is a historical preservation. I think game companies should do that on their own. Yeah. Say, hey, we can do this. We can maintain a website that has these things in it. It's something.
I mean, that is way, way easy. That's a really good idea. get somebody doing a playthrough of it and maybe a speed run of it as well, like 2 different playthroughs of it,
Sure.
and then
Yeah.
the credits. And those are all somewhere, at any point they're on the
Somewhere.
Nintendo website or whatever, So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Right.
All right, we
Right
fixed
now,
it.
it's just basically YouTube channels doing that for him.
We solved it, everybody out there. So you got to pay
Yeah.
us if you do this.
The conversation is over. Let's move.
Yep,
Let's
yep.
move on, everybody.
Chat, let us know what you think about video game emulation. If you're listening later, you can head on over to YouTube and jump in the comments there and let us know what you think about video game preservation, emulation, and whatnot. Fox, what have you been up to, my friend?
We've been watching. We finished Twin Peaks, at least the original series. We're waiting for the return, the third season. The library has it. We've been waiting for it to be available for us. So anyway, we started watching the X-Files as kind of a companion continuation, because it has a similar, it's got a spooky vibe, and it's also a very well done procedural. Like, they really thread that needle of, like, especially in the tone of it, where it's funny to watch. Every episode you have, sometimes it's just explicitly real, but like, was that real? Was it not? Here's the explanation. Scully gets to continue being skeptical. Mulder gets to continue being a conspiracy theorist. But you do genuinely like Mulder, and you do genuinely like Scully because she's still kind and likes him, and he's also still empathetic and has like emotional reasons and baggage that he's working through, and that's why he's interested in this. Like, it's a really well done show where it doesn't make anybody a caricature.
There you go.
Including, like, there's an episode we just watched where it has the more stereotypical, like, conspiracy theorist lives in a trailer with all these observational equipment, and I'm looking at here's this spooky thing that happened, but also you like him too. Like, he's not just that guy. Like, he has things that he's going through and dealing with, and he's nice and friendly, and so, like, they do a really good job of letting you get into those kind of supernatural things without it feeling just like stupid. I don't know. Like, you like it for more than just that. What is weird about it is that there are some episodes where you're just like, hey, so I guess ghosts objectively exist now. Like, there are some where they're like, oh, that could have been explained this way or not, and some where you as the audience see something that is literally just a ghost doing something. It's not even up for debate. There's literally no other option of what it could have been. Like, that's just a ghost that killed that guy. Like, and it makes you feel really frustrated for Mulder because he witnesses these things also. And then Scully comes in, and Scully, like, she, conveniently her seatbelt didn't work or whatever, and so she was 5 seconds behind Mulder and didn't witness a guy floating in midair and then strangled by nothing. And you're like, nah, Mulder's right. Like, Mulder is correct. Scully, I'm so sorry you're not seeing the truth here. It's not because you just don't believe. It's because you're literally just not seeing the evidence. And it's so frustrating. And it feels strange that some of it's so objectively, like, I guess, not supernatural. It's just the way the world exists in this show. Anyway.
What point, if you are Scully, at what point do you miss so much evidence and your partner continues to say, no, that was an alien. No, that was a ghost. No, do you go to your supervisor and you're like, hey, Mulder's lost it. Like,
that's the question. It's like, at what point is it either you genuinely have to be right, or you have to go to an asylum now?
Yes.
Like, like there is no longer this middle ground of you are a rational human being working for the FBI.
But he's a good agent. Hey, it doesn't matter. He's
actually not. He's not a good agent.
Real bad at his job.
He's very bad at this because he genuinely believes that a ghost killed that person when we have evidence of this other thing happening.
He blames the JFK assassination on gremlins. Like, he's bad,
Like, it's such an interesting show. It went on for 11 seasons. I understand why, because it is very fun to watch and it's very grounded. But also, there's some goofy things like that where, no, that one was an alien. That one was legitimately an alien ghost that possessed a person and made them sabotage a rocket ship like that. There's no other explanation. We physically saw it happen, and it's so weird.
You weren't like, you're probably too young to remember the hype when it was actually like airing live.
Yeah, it started
Yeah.
in like 96 or 97. The only thing I really remember about X-Files is when there was a movie that came out after the show ended when I worked at the movie theater in like 2008 or something. That's the only thing I remember.
Man, at the time, like mid, like fourth, fifth, and on, like it was everything. Like,
Yeah, it's a great show. Like I
it was a
legitimately enjoy it.
big deal.
Yeah.
Something for both of us, at least. Ooh, I don't know about you.
I have not finished Only Murders.
Last night, my wife and I
Okay.
finished Only Murders in the Building. Uh, it is the fourth season of
Yep,
the
I've seen
show.
confirmed that there will be a
There
fifth
will
season.
be a fifth season, yes. This is Steve Martin, Martin Shorts, and Selena Gomez. And I cannot, every time I talk about it, I say this, but Steve Martin, Martin Short will always be legends. The fact that Selena Gomez just keeps up with them is always so impressive and so
Well, at this
cool.
point, it doesn't feel weird. Like,
Right.
it didn't feel weird at the start, but it felt like a kind of a gimmick. Two old weird guys, and then like this millennial girl. Like,
Yeah.
but now it's just the saddest. It's just the show.
So it's so well done. You said this already. I think this might be my favorite season so far.
Yeah,
I think they've done a very, very good job of balancing their actual lives and telling stories about these humans with an actual murder mystery and how it's impacting their lives and comedy.
Yeah.
And they do it without the comedy being stupid or absolutely ridiculous or whatever else. Like, there's just some genuinely good old people comedy, or, like real good quips and things like that. Like, it's just really well written, really well performed and acted. I think that Jane Lynch does, somebody who's not known to be like a really great actor. She crushes it. Like,
she has some great stuff in this
brings
season.
some really heartfelt lines and is a really likable character in it. Before, she was kind of like a joke character. In this season, she is like really, really well written and really well done. So overall, man, it was a really good season. I am interested to see how season 5 goes, but I'll definitely be watching it.
I mean, I said this for the 4th, but I hope season 5 is the last. Like, you can only go so long and maintain. I mean, even at the very basic level, how many people are going to be murdered in this apartment building in the span of 5 years?
Minor spoiler, but they bring it up. They say, why is it that every time we solve a murder, we find another body? Like,
yeah. No, I mean, at this point, obviously, if there's another season, somebody else has to die.
Yeah.
I'm playing Alan Wake 2. I think Remedy, the Remedyverse, Remedy Studios or whatever they're called, I think it might be my favorite kind of like collection, like series of games I've ever played. Just as a whole, I really love how they found with Control, they found their like tone. They found their like, this is what the games we're going to make for at least the foreseeable future. Like they have a continuity of like font in, the actual UI and characters, and also like concepts in the games. And like Alan Wake 2 is really fun because it feels like Alan Wake, but also it has a lot of elements of Control, where you have like the Federal Bureau of Control show up in there a lot. It's not just, hey, look, there's an Easter egg. It's, no, I'm here now. I'm from the Federal Bureau of Control. I'm a character now. And that was a really great moment, because you could have a game like this horror thing where, alternate reality is changing, and you have the dark presence, and you have all these things and all these spooky horror things, and you could introduce an element of like, is it really happening? Is it false? Is it true? Is it just people's minds going crazy? But then in this you have, no, I'm from the Federal Bureau of Control. That thing, it's called the Shadow. I have this machine that can stop it. But like, it's just like very by the numbers, and just like, yeah, we don't know everything, but we can deal with this. Yeah, this is my boss from this. Like, it's like it, instead of like the person that shows up as like a psychologist saying, no, we have to
Right,
This isn't
right.
real. This is no, it's real. And here's the paperwork we need to fill out to be able to archive this. This our observation. It feels like a fun a fun twist on the idea of a supernatural presence. Of no, it's just how the world is. It's got weird, creepy things in it, and we're trying to figure it out and move through. And
It's like the Dresden
like,
Files books where he's a
yeah,
wizard detective, and so they'll mention werewolves, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cool. Here's how we handle werewolves."
yeah,
You
here's
know?
let me get my instruction manual out and just
Right.
like here's how we deal with these things, and I'm going to take it up to chain of command and talk to my boss about it. But I just really like it. I also unintentionally kind of really leaned into spooky October, and now that I'm thinking about it, I played both Alan Wakes and watched X-Files, and it wasn't on purpose.
I have been playing a lot of games recently. Actually, I'll start with the Dead Space remake. It just came out
Mm,
on PS Plus. It's a free game. You and I already talked about this a little bit, but I'll go into a little more into it. That it's a really, really well done remake. The game is beautiful. It is exactly the game that I remember when playing
yeah,
it. My favorite part of that game is the UI, that it is invisible. UI, if you don't know, mean user interface. So it's like your health bar and your map and, what weapon you have, all that stuff that's on your screen and whatever else. All that is done in world. So
diegetically.
yeah, your suit has a like bar on the back of it that is your health as it gets lower, and your weapon has a little projection that comes up that is how much ammo is left in there. And when you go to your map, it projects out of the front of your suit in front of the player, but also or in front of the character, but also in front of you, and it helps it be so immersive. Like it's so well done to be able to do that. At the end of the day, I just don't think it's scary. And I don't, maybe that's just me.
It's got jump scares, and you can get past those pretty quickly, and then it's just the game you're playing.
Right. It is equally scary to me as playing Tears of the Kingdom, and maybe I accidentally find a moblin. Like I'm
Yeah,
a moblin camp comes out of, I land in a moblin camp without expecting or whatever. Like enemies will pop up without my expectation, but
but that's the game.
right, exactly. And so I feel like zero jump scares. You and I had this struggle when we played holy crap, what's the FNAF game? Was it Sister Location that we played?
I don't know. We played one of them.
We
They're all the
played one of
same.
the FNAF games back on our old Des and Fox days. And you and I played like 2 or 3 episodes of it, but by the second or third episode, we were just like, this isn't scary anymore.
Right.
Now it's just kind of a boring game. Like we're not into it now. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I am, where I've been less excited to go back to it because I'm just like the one of the key components of the game is not effective on me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a I mean, it's got a good atmosphere to it, but it's not a psychologically like horrific game.
It's
You're
meant to
not
be,
like
but they don't do a lot of world building.
no. It's just you just walk into a new place. You expect there to be some monsters. They show up. They pop out of places. Maybe sometimes you're surprised
Yeah,
because you didn't expect it in that exact moment, but you're not like scared. You can turn off the game and you're not going to think about it.
right. Exactly that.
And
Whereas when
that
we played Slender Man, Slender Man was
Slenderman
scary.
does that. Slenderman can do that.
That was
Yeah,
a
I would say
terrifying
even like
game.
Alan Wake 2 has done that a little bit for me, where there's some creepy
Yeah.
visuals and concepts in the game that have stuck with me a little bit. Like I only played last night until I got the collectibles I was looking for, and I was like, no, I can't move forward in the story right now because I'm not going to sleep very well.
I legit got more jump scares from Elden Ring because they do a really, really
Have
common thing
wolves fall
of
from the sky.
yes, of like the enemies in areas that you don't typically look as a gamer, like up or like way back in a corner or whatever else. And so you'll
Yeah.
walk into a room and then just get stabbed from behind, be like, ah. So yeah, it's a very well made game. Jump scares don't really do it for me, so it's losing a lot of its veneer for me. But if you dig good jump scares games, it is a legit good game. It is.
Yeah. I played like an hour of, do you remember, what is it? It's like Stranger of Paradise, I can't even
Oh
remember
yeah,
that like
Stranger of Paradise.
kind of it's kind of like a Souls like ish, but it's Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
and I want to play it just to check it, like to actually play it and see what it's like. And it's fun. It's a fun game, but it's so goofy. Like the main character, like the big meme joke was chaos. He's always got to fight chaos and kill chaos. They say it like he says it like 6 times in one trailer. He's like, hey, picture a lead singer of a band from like a rock band from the mid
2002.
2000s.
Yeah.
That's him.
Oh
And
man,
it's
yes.
so funny. Like he's just such a like it's so good because he doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy character. He just feels like some like frustrated guy who's like, I guess I got to go kill this big monster guy, and I have a big sword. But he's not like society or or like
Right.
some like it's just so it feels so out of place in a very good way where you're like just laughing and having fun because this is goofy. And also in addition, the game is actually kind of pretty fun to play, like the actual gameplay of it. If it wasn't fun to play, then you would like laugh at it and then turn it off after 20 minutes. It's fun to play though, and he's also a goofy guy.
It's self-aware too. There's like complete Fashion Souls aspects to it. Like
Yes.
there's like fedoras. You can literally wear a fedora in this game. Like there's
Yeah.
so much ridiculousness to this game. Why are we not playing that on Monday nights? We should be playing that on Monday nights. That's
It's
fun
a single
game.
player game, isn't it?
No, it's co-op.
Oh,
Yeah, it's got co-op.
oh,
I don't know if it's more than two.
it's on PlayStation, but
I don't know if it's got more
anyway,
than
well,
two,
yeah,
but-
let's look into that because I'd be down to play that. Anyway,
Yeah.
it feels like a game where they like started off very serious and then realized, oh, this is actually kind of goofy. Let's lean into that.
Yep.
Let's lean into it just being kind of goofy.
Oh, and they also go into other Final Fantasy worlds.
Oh man, spoilers, but I'm excited for that too.
Oh, yeah, you'll go into like, all right, now we got to go into World 14, and it's Final Fantasy 14. They don't explicitly say it, but now
Sure.
we got to go into World 3 and things like that.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, that sounds fun.
yeah.
Cool.
I had just started playing on stream that you can catch every Monday and Friday, and then sometimes on Wednesdays when we're not doing this. I have been streaming Neva, the new.
Oh yeah.
Devolver published it. Dang it! What's the name of the studio? The dev studio. Ow! They did Gree as well.
Yeah, I remember the game. I don't remember what the actual studio is.
I want to make sure they get credit.
Nomada.
Yeah, Nomada.
Nomada.
Yeah, Nomada. Nomada Studios.
Hey, I can't remember what the game is or what the name is. Nomada.
Boo.
Oh, okay. Fair.
It is beautiful hand-drawn arts. Looks like a lot of like gorgeous watercolors in this game. It is light green, no words. There's mild voice acting of like
Sure.
other than Neva. You can call out to your dog, Neva. And so that's like literally the only word spoken in the game. And it is really fun, really well done. They tell the story entirely within the game itself, diegetically. And I don't know if they're succeeding in that. I still have a lot of questions. It's a shorter game. It's like 5 hours tops. And so my 3-hour session yesterday put me more than halfway. In fact, it's more like 4 hours. And so I'm pretty close to being done with the game. And like, I get kind of what it's saying and what it's trying to do, but overall, there's so much more I want to know in this game. But with that being said, it's still super fun, well made, great. Like it's exactly as long as it needs to be paced. Great pacing,
Okay.
exactly as long as it needs to be, and just gorgeous. They even have like little spots where you have an extended running sequence just so they can pan backwards and you can see this like
Sure. Hey,
gorgeous
look at this cool
landscape.
artwork we made.
And it's worth it. It's so good. So yeah, I've really been enjoying Neva.
All right. Well, that's all I've got.
That's all I've got. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. We've been so happy to have you here. We want to say a really big thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors, off of the album Dear Sam. I don't know if they were dropping new music for a while. I don't know if they've had anything recently, but they got some good sound. Go check out Granger.
And hey, We have been doing this podcast for a while, but for the last I don't know, couple of six months, however long, the Nerdy Gritty has been an arm of a ministry called Save Point. Save Point Ministries. Save Point exists in order to connect people who do not have a real life in person community with a real life in person community. We consider it to be extremely important that you have people that you can live life with. Not only do we consider it important, but studies show people need people. People
Yes.
need actual real life people. We're not against having an online community. We're part of lots of online communities. But if you feel as though that's something missing from your life, we would love to connect you through SavePoint to a community in real life. And what we do is we'll connect you to a church, specifically a church that is super on board with whatever nerdy habits you've got. Instead of showing up and having to hide that you are into Pokemon, you can come to the church I'm a part of, and the middle school pastor is literally the local Pokemon gym leader. Runs the tournaments here, and we like to find places where you can connect in a way that means you get to be who you are and part of a community at the same time. So if that's something that you would be interested in, please head to SavePointMinistries.com, join our Discord. There's a great community on there as well. We're glad that you're here.
Thank you again for listening to everybody. And always remember that save games, save lives.
My voice sings lonely, and this is what my heart sounds like. Is what my heart sounds like. Is what my heart sounds.
All right, recording over. We are back, chat.
Quick funny thing. I'm on the Granger website, wearegranger.com. What's your name mean? It's a funny story, really. All three of our middle names are Granger. Crazy, right? That's it.
Oh, that's the end of your.
That's all. It's just a funny little thing.
Kyrie. Yeah, Kyrie, you were talkative. And just says, enjoy reading all of that, by the way. I'm just scrolling back and yeah, Kyrie had a lot to say. I love it. This is awesome. So let's see here. Getting into I'm trying to see where we started our podcast here. There it is. Okay. Oh, I guess there are literal forums related to the turnip market. There is a a Robin Hood.
I
for
was
the
on
turnip
them. I was on them for a few weeks.
Kai was also saying no one was harmed in the attack on Shinra. Maybe I'm misremembering it.
Pretty sure everybody was fine.
I'm pretty sure some people.
It was just structural damage.
Well, and then after that, Shinra committed their own act of terror on themselves and blamed it on Avalanche, where they dropped Sector 7.
Yeah, they dropped the plate, part of the plate. Yes. They murdered hundreds of people.
So, look.
Now but again, that's on them. Nothing wrong with blowing up a reactor.
Let's say,
In fact, hey, everybody listening, go blow up a reactor.
No.
Find some kind of reactor and blow
Go
it
on
up.
YouTube, find some reaction YouTubers, and go blow up that reactor.
That's a reactor. One who reacts.
Talking about loose, I didn't want to say it in case it came off crazy, but yes, the name Light, what does the devil do? Disguise himself as an angel of light. It's a Catholic church.
Sure, but also, like, Jesus is the light. Like, the term light is used for several things in the Bible.
So, I mean, fun fact, Star of the Morning is used a couple of times in the Bible and refers to who is currently, like, the ruler of the earth at that moment. And so, currently Satan is the bright and shining morning star. He is the one that is,
currently has dominion over the earth.
Yes. And but when Jesus is described as the morning star is in Revelation, when after he's sort of taken back over. Yeah, fun fact. The fact it looks anime inspired, and they said pop culture. This is going to be aimed more at teenagers and young adults. Yeah, I'm for sure that's what's going to be happening here. Yeah, I made a joke. No one was hurt. Yeah, brought it up because y'all mentioned how easy it is. Can be modified to Lucifer, and it's the Catholic Church. Right, right. Let's see. To be clear, if Internet Archive couldn't get away with lending more copies of a book at one time than they actually have physical copies of, then of course that organization wasn't going to get okayed. So let's see. If an Internet Archive couldn't get away with lending more copies of a book at one time than they actually have physical copies of, so I guess what you're saying is that if a physical library couldn't can only give out
No,
X amount.
yeah, Internet Archive is a digital and it's a nonprofit on the internet.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, it's not as easy as just saying make an archive for it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Sure, there's always going to be cover all their bases in the copyright realm.
Kyrie is agreeing with us on theft. It's taking something that isn't yours, even if biblically speaking. So yes, I'd say extends to video games. In any cases, it's not lost media to these companies. Oh, Kyrie's saying that they're choosing to keep it. They have
Yeah,
a lot of them just have it tucked away.
right. It's
That's
not lost media means nobody could ever
right. I know that's true, and it's not
just
lost media at that point.
maybe hidden media is the better.
Yeah, but like Disney at least has what they call the vaults, and they cycle things from the vaults. At least cycle it, like bring some of those old games back out.
No, Disney doesn't do it unless it's going to make them money, though. Disney doesn't just say, "Well, here's Lion King 3 or whatever for no reason." Like nobody's gonna buy it.
There is a Lion King 3. In fact, there's a whole
Yeah,
Lion King
there's another Lion King
cartoon,
coming out.
and yeah, there's too many Lion Kings. Fox, you were making the point that they're not going to do it if it doesn't make them money. Kyrie says, well, stares at Nintendo refusing to re-release the Pokemon Game Boy Advance games despite the demand. So Nintendo, you cannot play the original Pokemon games, the Game Boy or the GBA, the Game Boy Advance Pokemon games,
Yeah, Silver and Gold.
legally right now,
No, that was GB.
other than
I
on the
can't remember.
actual. The
Yeah,
actual
no, it's not
console
just
itself,
money.
right.
It's also wanting to maintain. It's like, okay, here's another great example: is Warner Brothers sending a cease and desist to a library for using Daniel Radcliffe, promotional stuff for their literacy program. There's nothing wrong with that, but they have a financial interest in maintaining the new thing. They want people to buy the new Pokemon, not to just stick with old Pokemon. So they're not going to make old Pokemon available unless it's a profitable remake or something. So
Mhm.
it always comes down to the money.
Man, saying it's red, fire red and leaf green and ruby sapphire are the
Oh, right,
ones
okay.
that
Yeah, I
doing
don't think
it.
I did that. I didn't get into that generation.
Let's see. There's another one I want to read. Oh yeah, virtual consoles. So this isn't not virtual consoles. What I want to wonder is hardware copyrighted? Like I've been seeing a lot of. This is a system that you can buy online that is a Sega Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all wrapped in one, or whatever else.
Sure,
Like,
yeah, and there's a million, like they talk about it on the besties all the time. They talk about, your analog pocket,
yeah. So
the Game Boy.
are those legal?
I wonder if it's a case of like it's a different configuration but still does the same function. But
You're probably
technically the
right.
game has to still be legal,
Right, right. Because in that case, it's just the hardware. It's not giving you the software.
It's the yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not it doesn't make it an illegal copy illegal to play.
Yeah, just call it what it is. If you don't already own it, it's theft. So,
Right.
okay, what about that? What if you what if I bought Final Fantasy VII and my disc gets scratched and I'm not allowed to play it anymore, not able to play it anymore?
Not able to play it.
Not able to play it
Now
anymore.
it's on you, man.
So, let's
You don't
say
just get to steal another. I don't get to steal a car because my car broke down. Get insurance on your stuff, and there's somebody out there who will sell you insurance for that Final Fantasy VII.
Let's see. Yeah, man. If Archive couldn't get away with it with books during COVID, then they certainly won't get away with it otherwise. And that's,
Yeah, talking about the
yeah,
same thing. Yeah.
man.
Nope. If somebody's going to even theoretically lose money, that's why Nintendo's not a nonprofit. They're not here
Yeah.
to just maintain art for the enjoyment of the masses. They make good art and want to make good art, but only if it's going to lead to them thriving as a company.
So Kyrie, I talked about, like if you have a physical copy of game that is digitally lost media, and then your game is, or is digitally becoming lost media, then your game is damaged. They're saying that it's okay at that point because you own it. And that's something today that I also think is really, really frustrating, the difference between owning and licensing. It's my old man rant, but when I was a kid, if I bought a video game, I owned that video game now. That was
Sure.
mine.
Yeah. Which is still true if you buy a physical copy.
Yeah, that's, well, a lot of them have
Maybe not.
this is like 80% of the game, and then you have to download the rest when you get here.
Or
And
the day one patch
yeah, exactly.
that makes it playable.
And so, man, it's,
No, yeah, that's frustrating.
video games are such a unique industry in so many ways.
Right.
This organization might have better chances if it was one digital copy of the physical space and only played by one person at a time for each copy. That's an interesting thought, of just saying like literally only one person can be playing this at a time. It's like a shared Steam library, like.
Well, I mean, that's how a library works. Like, yeah, I would imagine they would have to have a number of copies. They do that for books, digital books. There's a certain, even with digital, there's a certain number of digital copies they can lend out for your Kindle or whatever.
Yeah.
You do that for games also.
Well, chat, any last thoughts? Fox, any last thoughts?
No.
No.
Zero thoughts. Empty.
I mean, overall, I would just say, like so many other things, it's a complicated issue. If you try and boil it down to something simple, it's probably not the best idea. It's probably whatever your simplistic thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never going to be a simple answer.
To be clear, I will 100% yar a game, buy a game maybe. Yar a game I bought digital if they revoke the license.
That means pirate.
To yar. Yar. Got it. There it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Got it. I will 100% yar a game I bought digitally if they revoke the license, so to speak.
To me, that's probably the most excusable, technically illegal thing. Yes. I bought this game. This is on you guys.
Yeah.
You made me sign that thing. I don't agree with it, but it is still technically you signed the thing.
Well, and the truth is, I think that the reality comes down to is they can't punish you for it. All they can do is then like revoke your access to it again or whatever. Like, I don't know if I do know for a fact that big, long contracts at the beginning of software are not legally bindable. It has been decided that they are too long. Nobody reads them. It's unfair to expect everybody to read and understand every word.
Therefore, without a law degree.
Yeah. Therefore, you cannot punish somebody for that. You can reclaim your property. You can revoke their access.
Yeah.
But you cannot punish them for that. So, yeah, that makes sense. Well, chat, thanks for hanging out. Real good conversation today. Man, still just such a heady topic, one that I still got a lot of thoughts going on with it. With just another reminder, by the way, that this is all part of Save Point Ministries. If you need to find a church, we have that in the chat. If you want to come join our Discord, that's also in the chat. You can scroll up there, jump in our Discord. We're out having conversations every day. Today, actually, we have our Discord Devo going up today. I can't remember which one it is, but yeah. So every Wednesday, we have a Devo go up on there as well, just like a 5 to 8 minute video of just like, hey, here's a thought for the week. A lot of good stuff going on. I will be streaming on Friday, probably finishing Neva. If you want to come check that out, it'll be in the afternoon Pacific time, probably around like 4 o'clock Pacific time. Yeah, that's what we got going on. Thanks for being here, guys. We love you all. Jesus loves you more. We love that each and every one of you were here today, but always remember that there is a church out there that would love it if you were there. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Hi, everybody.